Hi there, Christian Henson from Spitfire Audio here with 5 quick tips to help you create a successful library or production music track. There are 3 columns to the music industry where music to picture is concerned. There's commissioned music, which is what us composers physically write to picture when we're commissioned. There is synchronized music, where they seek a sync license to, say, put a U2 track against picture. And there's library music, which is great swathes of music that are designed for specific purposes. Within advertising, it is often used, daytime television, a lot of factual entertainment is made wholly up of library music. So it's a big part of the industry, and I certainly have probably been more successful with library music than anything else. You simply don't hear of us because we're the kind of great unwashed and unseen. So let's just take a quick look at this short piano piece. Quick caveat, that piece of music is designed for demonstration for this film, so it's a little bit shorter than ideal. I would say minimum 2 minutes, maximum 3, absolute maximum 3 in my experience, my humble opinion. So I tend to follow a 3-act structure. This is something that a lot of editors recognise, but also will give you a good chance of getting it on an ad or a trailer, which is where the big bucks are for library music. So it's actually over 5 parts. What I do is I come out of the gates stating what the piece is going to be. So the first part is a prologue. This tells the editor where you're going to go with this piece. Then follows a very short intro. Then first subject. Second subject. And then the meat and taters of the piece. And then at the very end, we have an epilogue. Again, this fulfills the kind of trailer structure. Make sure the piece is editable. Now, I have strived to perform this piece in what is quite an unnatural manner by actually giving little bits of daylight between each section. So I lift the pedal off, knowing that the reverb is going to kind of mulch over the whole thing to make it feel like it runs as a whole piece. Now, for advertising, 10 and 30-second versions of your track will be commonplace, and often your library or production music company will do these cut downs, as they're called themselves. If you have time, I would offer up versions of your own, as I assure you they'll be more satisfactorily kind of edited from a musical point of view. One mini tip for the 30-second version is also to come to a rest at 28 seconds. This will mean that you can edit a UK 30-second, which is actually 29 seconds, comfortably. Now, this doesn't apply to this particular piece, but say if I put a piano pad underneath, make sure you stem these out. Stem stands for stereo masters. I think is quite an outdated term, but basically this means that you provide a piano-only version, a pad-only version, and the full mastered mix. If you feel your piece has legs and if you have time, it's always worth doing alt versions. Here's a minor version of that piece. Or if your piece has a really strong melody, you may want to do a melody-less version. My biggest library track to date, whilst I know that the melody sold the track, the version they used was just the backing track only, or PA mix as we used to call them. Now submit these alternative versions to your library company, and even if they don't use them or publish them, keep them on your own system. You'll be surprised at the number of times the library music company will track me down and say they love this piece, they were just wondering if there is a version without the cowbell. But this is all academic if you don't title it correctly, and I would monitor the titles that your library company assign to these pieces. If they're very vague, if I called that Helioscope, for example, it's a cool name, and I can imagine the album cover already, lots of monochrome and tiny little fonts. This is no use to you as a piece of library music. I know a library music composer whose most successful track is Low Subby Drone. So I would call this Solitary Piano, something like that. Describes what the editor is to expect, and what they will do is they will go through heliotrope, orosphere, or lonely solitary piano, or whatever you've called it, and they'll probably zone in on that because that is in fact what they want. It's with great pleasure I can announce that Spitfire Audio has actually partnered up with, I think, one of the most exciting and progressive library music companies on the planet today, and that is Extreme Music. We've got our own label on that, so go to the links below to check out how we're making library music for the world at large. I also have a vlog, and there's one episode on that linked below, which is me wandering around Edinburgh, kind of pontificating on the do's and don'ts of library and production music. Composition, behaviour, etc, etc. So check that out if you have time. Thanks as always for watching. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, well worth doing. Lots of exciting content coming up. If you like what I do, hit like, and if you want to be notified when we put new videos up, ring that little bell just below. Thanks ever so much for watching. See you next time.